Well, you can tell I'm back from vacation, but I'm going to show you a cool new place. This is one of the places. Oh, well, holy cow, what happened? There we go. This is one of the places that I visited on my vacation. If you didn't hear the story, yeah, I stayed in a Hobbit hall. I found it on Airbnb. By the way, the vacation was 14 days traveling with no agenda. And so we just did whatever we found and whatever we wanted. And this was one place we saw, and we were like, we should try that. And so it was off the grid. A guy started with 160 acres and a chainsaw, and now he has like 18 buildings, and this is one of them. Yeah, we stayed into that. Somebody, I love my accessibility expert, Joan Eisenstadt said, "How did you get in that? Like, we got to climb through, yeah, a circle for that." And she goes, "That's not for me." Uh, all right, so this is not scooter accessible. But anyways, so I hang out here in the Hobbit hole, and it turns out my next guest is a fan of The Hobbit and possibly Lord of the Rings. But more importantly, we met because she's really working in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I love that she was really elevating women speakers as one of her parts. Let's welcome the one and only Bobbie Carlton. Bobbie, how you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me. And yes, massive Hobbit fan and Lord of the Rings.
Well, let's start with that. Why are you such a fan of the whole Lord of the Rings space?
You know what? I think my dad introduced me when I was a kid. It was one of like the first fantasy books that I read, and I just got totally immersed in it.
Yeah, that what is
Love
what
it.
is not to like, and there's a gift for people who can create other worlds, right? That
Yes.
like literally, this is like something to
So immersive.
right. All right. Well, speaking of immersive, let's talk about you and innovative women, right? As being one of the allies many times in the room as a male. But again, I've been really looking forward to advance women at work and other places like that. Bobby, for my friends who don't know you, could you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. So I usually tell people I have many jobs. My day job is running a PR and marketing firm. My night job is something called Innovation Nights, startup event in Boston. And Innovation Women is my online visibility bureau. Now, three companies, people are like, oh, that's enough. But I actually engaged in some retail therapy during the pandemic, and I bought two more companies, another service for speakers called My Speaker Leads, and a digital magazine for women entrepreneurs called Lioness.
Lioness. How do you make that decision as a business owner? I'm a business owner. Like, how do you make that decision? What was the tipping point of saying like this is going to make sense?
So everything actually works together. I mean, I talk about Innovation Women being an online visibility bureau, but if you look at all of the different things that I do, my goal and the goal of all of these companies is to provide career enhancing, business driving visibility for people who might not be otherwise able to get it. So, Lioness Magazine totally made sense. My Speaker Leads totally made sense. I mean, when I bought My Speaker Leads, I got a research team experienced in going out and looking for speaking opportunities, and Lioness was a great opportunity for the Innovation Women members to be able to contribute articles, to have their books featured, to appear in roundups. It all works together.
I love when you get synergy, right? When you get synergy is one of those things. I mean, that's kind of like, oh, maybe that's we'll go back to the Hobbit piece, right? Which is like that's where magic happens, right?
Yes. Two plus two equals five.
So talk about too. I think you recently did a new TED Talk too. Did I get that right?
I did a TEDx just before the pandemic. I was contacted by Suffolk University. They were putting on their own TEDx and they had a last minute cancellation. I
Oh,
usually tell people I got a call and somebody's like, oh, you have to do our TEDx. And I'm like, of course, I'm a speaker. It's like, that's the ultimate. And, then I said, okay, when is it? And they said Tuesday. And I'm like, Tuesday is in like 3 days from now. Yes, Tuesday. Like, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, where I'm out. And I got them 5 other people. Obviously I run a speakers bureau. I got them 5 other people who were willing to do the crazy thing of a TEDx in 3 days.
Yeah.
And they said, no, Bobbie, we really want you. You fit our theme. None of these other people fit our theme. And against all better judgment and all advice, I did it. And I'm not terribly embarrassed.
Well, genius. Did you write that talk then in 3 days, or you
Yep.
wrote some stuff or did something you knew?
I will tell you my process, which was I spent one of those 3 days just watching other people's TEDs. That's all I did for a solid day. And I knew that there is a signature cadence for a TED or a TEDx. And I wanted to make sure that I could adopt that. The second day, I wrote the presentation and I gave it at the dress rehearsal. So in the same day. And that night I came back and I ripped apart the presentation that I had spent all day putting together, and I completely rewrote it and I gave it for the first time on the stage.
Wow.
Don't do this. Don't ever do this. It's a bad idea. It's a terrible idea.
Wait a minute. Sometimes that's how it gets done. You know what I mean? Like, what I love to tell people, I wrote a book, right? And the first time I wrote a book, 2011, I tell people I failed 4 times in the decade, in the 10 years before that. And sometimes, and it really did. I came off of one talk. So I don't know how many know this story. It was a little bit like yours, which is I knew the planning organizer for ATD, right? The Association of Talent Development. And I had missed the deadline to apply. And I came in there and I just off of intuition going, man, last year she called me and said that she had a missing speaker. I wonder if she did it again, right? So I just picked up the phone and called her, said hi. And I said, and we talked. And then I said, did you just happen to get like a speaker that canceled? She goes, that's so weird. I just hung up with a speaker who canceled. And she goes, what spot do you want? And I'm like, she actually gave me a choice because normally I get I've gotten those end spots, like the worst spots, nobody's there. And I said, no, I want it on the main day at 1 o'clock, right after lunch, right? And because my talk is energetic, so I know that I'm gonna it's interactive, and so I'm gonna make it in that time slot, even though people are sleepy. And she goes, "Yep, you got it." And and then I went there, and the class was packed, and then a guy at the end of the talk comes up, and he goes, "That was a great talk. Do you want to write a book about it?"
Oh my goodness.
Guys,
no one did that for me, but maybe someday.
I'm just saying that sometimes that's how it gets done, right? And then you do it, and sometimes that's the way. Is that your first TED Talk, by the way?
That was, yes. I have to admit, it's just, something that's on the list that I hadn't gotten to.
It's on my list too. I haven't gotten to it either. I know all the people, I know all the places,
Yeah.
blah, blah. I don't know.
I've been, a few times, like people are like, oh, can you apply for mine? And, we'll be thrilled to have you there. And the dates don't work out, or it's in Peoria. Not that there's anything wrong with Peoria, but it's just far away. And so it just hadn't gotten to it.
Okay. Well, I have something else that came out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, the Failure Lab. It's like a TED Talk, except it's about one of your failures, and then you don't tell people how it ends.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Would you do that?
Oh yeah. I have great stories. I have fabulous stories. And many failures.
Can I share a precursor of one now?
What's that?
Do you want to share the precursor of one? Like I just was sharing spectacular failures. Like I blew a fuse this week because it's like the hottest day in Seattle, and for the first time I had every single computer in my office on, and my air conditioner blew a fuse.
Oh,
and
wow.
Luckily, I finally got all the value out of my uninterrupted power supply.
Nice.
Because it
very
kept
nice
running, but I had to run an entire program with no air conditioner for 2 hours. And my office went from 74 degrees to 91. So there's my failure and save kind of in one story. I don't know if you have a similar story to share.
I mean, I started my first company, Carlton PR Marketing, in 2008. What happened in 2008. The startup that I had been working with ran out of money. And so all of a sudden I was off on my own. I was, the working parent, the sole breadwinner, and 2 kids. And oh my God, the startup that I left my corporate job for had run out of money, and the market had fallen off a cliff and there were no jobs. And good God, what am I going to do? So that's when I started my own company. And, it's not been all roses and rainbows, but, over time you build up and you hire a team and things are all good. And it all comes from the fact that I was involved with something that failed.
Oh, that's a good one. What is one of your favorite moments, like unexpected things that happened in the past, like since you started?
I think all the favorite moments, the unexpected things involve meeting people. I mean, I love the unexpected person. I will tell you that one of my team members over the last, oh my gosh, 6, 7 years
Yeah.
is somebody that I met because our 2 kids were going to the same college and we went to parent networking night. And, you start talking to people at these events. And I said, well, what do you do? And she's like, well, I'm looking for a job. And I said, what do you do? And she's like, well, I've been doing this, I've been doing that. And, her background was unbelievably crazy. I mean, she had been a Arabic language cryptologist in the army, and she had worked for Lockheed Martin. And most recently, she had been working for the Association of General Contractors, and she had worked in a craft store. And I'm like, all of these things. And I'm like, well, what do you love to do? She's like, oh, I really love writing my blog and social media. And I'm like, done, come with me, and she's been like one of my longtime employees, and she is our director of content, and she's a fabulous writer. And it's just like, yes, serendipity. It works.
See, my company was around the basis of what I call creating life-changing adventures, and I always thought the life-changing adventures was for the attendees of these programs that I was creating. But the really true life-changing adventures, the people you work with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Yeah. You learn so much about different cultures, different people, different thought processes. The more different people we have working for us, the better I like it.
Well, I love that that you focus on innovation. Of course, we all have had just lived through, or living through, perhaps is the correct verb, right? The largest disruption that we know. Is that a Baby Yoda cup too? Come on. Did I there it is. A genius. uh, and we just lived through the largest disruption in like the entire world. It was a planet-wide disruption too. Literally, it was like not just localized to a few of us. I mean, I've talked to people all over around the world who are having the exact same experience. So I'm curious to you, how did you get through it? And more importantly, we're talking like you're talking to lots and lots of speakers. I would love to hear like what has to happen for a virtual meeting to be engaging for you.
Okay, so we're going to take a little step back to February 2020.
Ouch.
I had just gotten off probably 6 weeks of being deathly ill. We think maybe. And I got a call one Saturday night from a friend who said, do you still do crisis communications? And I said, yes. What's wrong? My parents are on board the Diamond Princess and they want to hire you. Like, what? So we were representing passengers on the Diamond Princess in February 2020. So we had a little bit of a heads up on what was coming down the pike.
Wait,
And
side note, I got to add to this. One of my good friends, Gregory Raffinelli, and his wife, who live here in Seattle, were also on that ship and reporting to King 5. So continue. Thanks.
yes, so I was working with Gay Quarter and Phil Quarter, gifted with the most fabulous clients. She's a New York Times bestselling novelist, and he is a documentary filmmaker. Could not ask for more perfect spokespeople for basically get us off this ship. We did 10 to 15 interviews a day. We drove something like 3,000 articles. And really, our goal was to let the world know what was happening so that, frankly, the US government would come and, get the Americans, get people off the ship. It was an ineffective quarantine. You had people running the quarantine who were also potentially infected. So really kind of a scary time. And, every day my heart was, in my throat. I was so terrified for them. I had felt really, I usually tell people public relations is not life and death, but I felt like at that point it was.
It was. It
It
really was.
absolutely was.
Nobody knew. The amount of unknown stuff was gigantic. So you really had to treat it as I don't know.
Well, if we talk about the number of people on that ship, I mean, 3,200 people, passengers on the ship, plus the crew, and having over 700 of them get COVID, and people died. I mean, we didn't know what we were dealing with, and it was scary and dangerous.
Yeah.
So, of course, this is all front and center for my team. And, I, at that point, said to my team, like, everybody brings home their laptops every night. Don't leave anything in the office. Be prepared to work remotely for a little while. This could be happening. Obviously in early May, we all went home and we ended up shutting down our office. So, like that's one aspect of my professional life that was changed dramatically. On top of that, here we are running a monthly event. By the way, we ran innovation nights since April 2009, every single month. I mean, we did over 130 events. Every single month, we were launching between 10 and 15 new products, 1,500 new products launched. And all of a sudden, slam the brakes on, no events. So we did some virtual events, but it really wasn't the same. And at that same time, of course, I have a raft of women speakers, some of whom were making a living by speaking, and all of the speaking engagements were being canceled. Some of them were going online, but it was a dramatic time. And I felt the need to really hold the hands of everybody I could in the speaker world. So we did things like we put on our own virtual summit, which was a great opportunity for some of our speakers who had never done anything online to get that experience, to get that reel, to get the video of themselves speaking virtually and doing a presentation virtually. We also partnered with a company called Answer Stage that allowed us to send a link to our speakers and they could create their own virtual speaker sizzle reel. So we tried to pivot as quickly as possible to giving our speakers virtual and online opportunities, as well as positioning our database as supplying the needs of events everywhere. So, it was a big change.
And what is some of the best advice that you gave to these speakers, right? Again, some of them are keynoters, right? They can
Yeah.
speak the whole 45 minutes. But, one of our best speakers, the best keynotes in the last 2 years was Elizabeth Gilbert,
Mm,
right? From Eat, Pray, Love. And we went back and I've like me and a whole group of people have torn apart this keynote going, why is this so good? And like, it's a combination. First, you have what I call the foundation.
yeah.
And the
She's
foundation
got some good stuff.
Yeah, well, the foundation is, well, first your internet, like you got a big pipe, right? You have the right mic. That was the one thing I improved for her, right? Yes, is that she had a mic and it was from a Mac laptop and it sounded like she sounded like in a shower, right? But as soon as we
Oh.
go, do you have a USB mic? She walked over, plugged one in, put it in here. Her voice changed dramatically. It was amazing, right? I mean, it was so important to have that audio quality, especially for her as a storyteller to get that. And some speakers still haven't figured that out, that you got to watch these things, that these are important, right? Your
Yeah.
mic again is extraordinary. Again, thank goodness, because and your speaker, but you're practicing and showing it by having the audio quality, use, and also it's not just having the right equipment, but using it in a right way
Yeah.
so that people are getting it, right? Lighting and all the other things that go along with that. What do you feel like were some of the best things? Like after the foundation, what did you coach speakers to do that especially some face-to-face speakers that help them make that transition.
Yeah, I mean, there were some really basic things. One of the things that we did is we started this Friday morning Zoom call. Every Friday morning, 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern, we brought people together and we just shared knowledge. But it was also the practice. It was, little things like, hey, minimize your Zoom meeting window, pop it up underneath your camera, put a little dot on your webcam. Like, it was such basic things at first. Now we're like, oh, of course you do that. But 2.5 years ago, that was new. And, people really weren't used to it. Little things as well, like stand up, have a standing desk. Make sure I've got a desk that goes up and down. And, it's like, yeah, I'm sitting here in my comfy chair sometimes. But when I'm doing a presentation, the energy is there when I'm able to stand up and speak. Yes, equipment's fabulous, but I think a lot of it just comes down to practice and being comfortable and understanding that you're not talking to the faceless masses. You're talking to people and you are in a little box on their desk and they need to feel like you are talking to them.
That sounds simple, and again, many people forgot that, right? Which is like this right here is tell your story. Some people we actually have. I got a chance to write in the book. People put post-its, right, and like put human.
Look at your camera.
Yeah, they put eyes around the webcam, right? So you would do things like this, address the people, talk to the people, because there is somebody else on the other side. And what I love to tell people all the time too, like people always say that community like disconnects us, make us feel farther away, and I'm saying like we're humans, we're built to connect.
Yeah. And I do feel there's some incredible advantages to doing presentations this way that people forget.
Same
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Silly little advantages. John Chen engaging virtual meetings. Everybody's name's in that little box.
That's right.
Okay.
Name tag.
I've gotten to the point where it's like, who are you again? And what do you do? Oh, yeah, it's written there right in front of me. Fabulous. Like, geez, it's a crutch, I admit, but it does help. If you're at a live meeting and a live presentation, does everybody in the audience have, a label floating over their head that we can all see from the stage? Nope. Is it an opportunity to get a question asked from the audience actually in writing and it appears in the chat or it appears in the Q&A? And also just in terms of that audience, there are some things that I think, frankly, able-bodied people forget. It is hard to go to a physical conference for some people, right? I broke my leg several years ago, just before South by Southwest. Oof. And I went to South by Southwest in a walking boot. And I did not cover nearly as much territory as I have on some other years. I spent a heck of a lot more money on pedicabs. I did not get around as much as I needed to. That's because, I was a little bit hobbled and, not everybody finds it easy to walk many miles or to hop on a plane or to even hop in a car. There's a level of privilege there that we forget.
What was great? Again, my very good friend Joan Eisenstadt has been an advocate in this industry. And one time I was injured my leg before a big conference at the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Las Vegas. If you know that hotel, it's enormous.
Huge.
Right? And I'm like, how am I going to get through this? Like a 4-day conference that I'm running a gamification on the trade show floor. I'm like, how am I going to do this? Because I'm on a pair of crutches.
Oh.
And suddenly I realize it's Vegas, right? What else do you see in Vegas but people in motorized scooters with oxygen tanks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get the oxygen tank. Maybe I should have. But I did get the scooter. It's very reasonable. You can call almost any hotel and rent a scooter. And I think they're subsidizing because they want you there, right?
Absolutely.
And number one is that it was fabulous, right? Two is I was able to do a lot of things that other people couldn't do. But three, for the first time, I really got the experience of like, what is it like to be one of these, people, right, who might be challenged in that way. And number one is some of it is physical. Like I went to a Starbucks and like the way the lanes were arranged, it was a
Yeah.
switchback. There was no way it was big enough like I was going to get my cart through it. And then like the second one though is the emotional part, which is people are looking at you going, "You look like an able-bodied person who's got a cart. What's your deal?" So you got to deal
Mm.
with like all this, like who are you? Like when you get in the elevator and the elevator's packed, right? And the whole elevator does this for you. You kind of feel bad a little bit, right? You're going, I don't want to be this big of a pain in the butt, but I got to get somewhere.
Yep. And it's more as well, just all of the different perspectives from people who have different life experiences.
Yeah.
In terms of virtual events over live events, I usually talk a lot about getting women on stage. So like that's my big thing. I
Great.
talk to a lot of event managers about one of the reasons that women say no. Women actually turn down some speaking opportunities because they're more likely to be working part-time. They're
Mhm.
more likely to work for smaller companies.
Mhm.
They're still more likely to be responsible for kids and home.
Mhm.
It's hard to backfill for somebody who has to go and spend 3 days at a conference. If that person only worked 3 days a week anyway, or that person is working for a smaller company and their employer doesn't have the funds to send them or to hire somebody to do their job while they're gone. Like there's a lot of reasons that like women do turn down some opportunities. And yet it's super easy if I'm doing this remotely.
Yes.
I can, hop on a presentation. I can do my presentation. And an hour later, I'm picking up little Johnny at the bus stop.
And I think people are forgetting that because I know there are a number of organizations right now. We're watching the transition and we're going like, we're back to live. That's all there is.
Oh, I wish they don't do that. I do wish that they like keep at least hybrid, that they at least keep some speakers speaking virtually.
Yeah. Yes. Right. For these reasons here too, because attending and speaking at a conference has a bunch of these assumed privileges, right? Such as these things, whether it's the funds or the time or the childcare or and that's why there's, I just finally in the last couple years like learned the term manel, right, which is
Mm,
all man panel, which I know that you are trying to fix. And a lot of that has all these privileges built into it. Like it's easier sometimes for X to be on that stage than Y. And I think those are a lot of things that virtual has done. I love that. It's made it more accessible. Even on the fun side, I was the virtual MC for a government social media conference, and most of them said if there was not this virtual ticket, they could not afford to go,
yeah.
whether it was time or resources approved by their manager,
Mhm.
right? Because they work for the government. It's like not an infinite amount of money there. They got to be careful how they spend it, and so and again, the cost is like way higher. It's probably a factor of 5 or 6. Like it's a $500 ticket virtual, and then it's like 3 grand by the time you add in, travel and expenses, the airline, the hotel, the Ubers, the whatever you want to do. So, speaking of which, let's talk about innovation and your innovation women. I got a chance to finally peek around your website. Talk to me about how this website was created. And if you want, you can even give us a little show around. I got to tell you, I really appreciate it. By the way, men can get on the site too.
Yeah.
There's a few of us there, and that you really are looking to solve and make easier the challenge to get women on stage. So again, this is for all my women speakers now who are in my audience, and I know a lot of them, right? Listen up if you're not a member because it's very cool.
Thank you. I started Innovation Women really as a mission-based organization. I mean, we are really devoted to getting more women on stage at conferences and events. 2/3 of all conference speakers are women, so we've got a ways to go. I have enormous number of resources on the platform. You don't have to be a member. Just come, like, check out the resources. We've got articles, we've got tutorials, we've got a weekly newsletter with all kinds of educational information. We've got a webinar series. We've got a bookstore. A lot of speakers are also authors, so we like to promote their books. And the people who join Innovation Women, go in, sign up for an account, are kind of one of two groups. They are either what we generically call an event manager. So they're a podcaster looking for guests. They are a corporation or maybe an ERG looking for somebody to run a workshop. It's a conference or an event looking for speakers, or maybe a university. So, those are kind of the people looking for speakers. And then also there are speakers and subject matter experts. And come on, you're supposed to just automatically sign me in. Don't embarrass me in front of my friends.
I see it.
I always talk to my platform. I actually crowdfunded the money to create Innovation Women originally. And
oh, by the way, you
just
must
love
know the term anthropomorphic? Was it anthropomorphic? I can't even say it today. And you know what I'm
me and
talking
my baby.
about. You talk to inanimate objects as if they are real. Anthropification.
Yes, I do that.
Look,
So if you're an event manager, you have this view. And this view is where you go and hunt for speakers and subject matter experts. We can actually search for speakers by title, where they went to college. A lot of universities like to find their own alum, location, 180 industries. I just got the update number on that. And keyword or topics. So if I'm looking for speakers in marketing, I'll go in and I'll search, and, we can go and select a speaker. Let's see here. Mary Ann. Mary Ann looks so interesting. We can see her biography. She's willing to travel. And Mary Ann has all kinds of interesting information in here, which will basically give me a sense as an event manager if I am looking to hire a speaker. Do I want to invite her or not? It just goes directly to her. This is my profile. You can see I've got a video. Remember that TED Talk? There it is.
bingo.
I fully own it. As I said, I'm not horribly embarrassed by it. Got a biography, the topics I speak on, links to all my social media, little stories about me, and example talks. Like, these are talks that I give or talks I want to give. We very deliberately use the word example. It's not talks I've given before, because we want to make this accessible to speakers at all levels, because there are opportunities at all levels. So for a speaker, this is your happy place. This is where you go and find opportunities. So you can, again, search by topic, by industry. You can filter on if it's an in-person event or a virtual or online event. We even do proximity searching. I'm just outside of Boston, so I can see, what's local to me.
And let's go ahead and click all virtual or hybrid events. I'm just kind of curious. Or all virtual. Let's do virtual.
So right now we're like 3 to 6. Oh, so in Boston, well, actually that makes sense because I just clicked on events in a place.
Yes. Oh, so they have to be not in a place, right?
Yes. So let's try it this way. There we go. Woo! So you'll see the event type here. So these are online, virtual, or hybrid events.
That's what I'm doing. I'm looking through the site. I'm preferencing these virtual events. Obviously, they're going to be accessible to me. Mm-hmm. Like you're saying, one of your, let's say, women speakers who doesn't want to travel can now look at all these and say, I could do these.
Yep, exactly. Oh, look at this. Event horror stories and solutions. I totally want to see this. This event will be a free webinar and its date is flexible. They're looking for a panel of speakers with event planning. Oh, it looks awesome. So then I could just go and apply. So I would basically send a message off to the event manager who put this on our platform.
I've got every virtual event horror story you want.
That's fantastic. I love it.
And again,
So
I'm assuming your members now have come back, and then what I love is that and said this is really valuable, and then please share again. I'm not getting any compensation from Bobbie, just so you were clear. But share like I love the business model you created for it. So can you share like a little bit about how many speaker gigs you felt like you've gotten for women, and then how
mhm.
much it costs?
Yep. So we we can't track everything because a lot of the applications are actually off our site.
That's right.
So the speakers go, they apply somewhere else, and that means that I've kind of lost track of them. So I don't know, if I applied for this digital workplace experience event, if I applied for it, Innovation Women doesn't know if I got it or not. So one of the things that we do with Innovation Women is you'll notice on my speaker profile, we have this button called Promote Yourself. So what that does is it opens up a dialog box. The speakers send us information about their speaking gigs, and that enables us to put it into our blog and out into the social media world or into a monthly newsletter that we have, Our Speakers in Action. And what we're doing there is we're trying to track as much as possible the opportunities that our speakers are getting. We know we have placed over 4,000 speakers in speaking opportunities,
Wow.
but we know we're not tracking them all. Maybe the speakers are not hitting that promote yourself button. So we try and remind them about it and it's like, hey, this is in your best interest. We'll promote you because we want to track those opportunities. So the business model is event managers use it for free and
Yep.
speakers pay just $100 a year to become a member.
Uh-huh.
That means,
Wow.
100 a year. That means that they have skin in the game, which is important. I've done free things before. You don't get no respect. And also it means that they update their profile. They finish filling in their profile. They respond to event managers who are sending them queries because they're invested in it.
Got
It
it.
also gives us obviously operating capital to do the marketing that we need to do to events and conferences and corporations. For example, for the last 4 months, I have been reaching out to ERGs, employee resource groups,
Yeah.
because they are terrific opportunities for speakers for speaking engagements.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. If you want to meet some of the Microsofty groups, let me know. That might
Absolutely.
there's definitely a lot of them there. Like Chime is like the Chinese at Microsoft group. We're very big, very well known. So
I've got over 2,000 really awesome women speakers and a handful of really secure guys on this platform. I need to get every single one of them on stages.
oh, incredible. Thank you, Bobbie. Great resources. Again, as a user, I've been peeking around your site and really impressed. I'm testing it out myself. I hope to have a success story for you soon to share with that. And that's really all part of, oh, wait, you kind of have a BHAG too. You have a big, hairy, audacious goal with this platform. What's that goal you got going on?
So I took a look at the numbers that there's a company called Bizzabo put together in 2019. So Bizzabo is the one that tells me that 2/3 of all conference speakers are men. So they looked at 60,000 speakers to come up with that number. So I said, okay, if we're reaching gender equity with that number, and this is, of course, a few years ago now, they haven't updated the number. Hey, Bizzabo, please update your number. If we take that number and we get to gender equity, I need to get 2,500 additional women on stage every month. It's doable, right? I can do this. So I figure, at least 10,000 women on Innovation Women, and each one of them to take on 3 or 4 additional speaking engagements a year. That's my goal.
Very cool. And again, women who are on there and the other few secure men that I know, go check out innovationwomen.com. I'm checking it out myself.
And also non-binary.
And not, oh yes,
We
absolutely.
need you too.
Thank you, Bobbie, for the inclusionary parts. All our days should go to and check it out. And I think that again, I'm testing it out myself. I hope to have a story like that. Incredible resources, though. I can tell out of other websites. I know I've had other websites ask me for a lot more and gave me a lot less. So bravo to you as an entrepreneur to entrepreneur of just like providing value and making it easy. There's a lot of that's inside of there.
Yeah.
All right, Bobby, we're almost here to the end, which is this.
Thank you.
Kind of like in the Lord of the Rings, you said a new content is coming out, right? In our world, new content is coming out. What do you see in the future, right? Especially on the virtual side, on virtual speakers. What do you see, or what would you like to see in the future?
It really for me comes down to great presentations, great content. Like when the speakers are really knocking it out of the park, that's when I'm thrilled. Like I want every event manager who comes to Innovation Women to end up with a speaker who just blows their mind. And that's a lot of like the educational stuff that we do at Innovation Women. We have a whole green room full of just terrific educational content. And we do things like we bring speakers together. We have a saying that speakers need speaker friends. So we always want speakers to hang together, share information, help elevate each other so they all do a better job. So, for me, it all comes down to the quality of the presentations. I want every speaker on Innovation Women to blow somebody's mind. I want to have them come in and know that they can't just be one Google search deep in their content. They have to come to the platform with ideas and concepts that nobody's ever heard before. They have to be prepared to educate their audience, and they have to be prepared to entertain them. So it was all about just fabulous, successful speakers.
It's all right. It always goes back to that, right? Which is like,
Yeah.
doesn't matter what year it is, it's still about the content and it's still about the delivery.
Yeah. Tell me something I don't know.
Tell me
That's what I want as an audience member.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and I see that too, which is like I'll tell speakers when I have never heard this and I'm going to use this, right? And I'll go back and tell them I actually use this in this place. And actually, my book is full of credits of like other people, right? I told that other people is like, I got this from this person. And it's such a fabulous way to do that. So I love that in your future. I love this, having, at least 50% or more of the speakers be women. I like that's a great piece in the future. And of course, having more fabulous speakers around with us. So I'm going to give you this offer too. If you want to take it, Bobby, no obligation. But if you want to recommend 3 of your speakers to come and get interviewed on my show, like the 3 people you think are fabulous, I would love to, offer as the male ally in the house a platform. And again, this gets live streamed to 24 locations. We've got amazing 1,400 people in our engaging virtual meetings group, and many other resources that we're sharing this along with. But especially those, I would preface those who really excelled in virtual. I would love to really find those people, as I am always on the hunt and searching for them. Bobby, let's go reiterate. If somebody wants to come find you, where are they going to find you at?
Innovationwomen.com. I'm super easy to find.
Thank you so much, Bobby. And final word. If you want if you want somebody who's listening to this stage to remember one thing, what's the one thing you want them to remember?
Speakers need speaker friends, and we are your speaker friend.
Speaker needs speaker friends. Bobby, thank you so much for your time and sharing this amazing resource. Again, I can't wait to tell you when I get a gig from it, because it's amazing. Like, I'll support anything in the business that like helps us get more business. Sounds simple, but I know there's a lot of places that don't always do it right, and I'm looking forward to yours. So congratulations again, entrepreneur to entrepreneur. Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, good. This is John Chen. I'm reporting here from the Hobbit Hall. Hopefully, one of Bobbie Carlton's favorite place. Make sure and check out our website, innovationwomen.com. When I first met Bobbie, we were just talking. There are so many women speaker friends I know who I want to get them more on stage, and I think they say the same. I look forward to sharing this, and I really hope to hear stories. If you're one of my amazing Innovation Women. Make sure and let me know if you get on this website and get a gig, and we can tell that back to Bobbie that her stuff is working. All right, this is John Chen. Thank you so much for trying to keep cool here in Seattle, and I will see you next time.
Don't we start people and keep old people? Show you got heart.